be or not to be? That is the question. For me, for my friends, for Ukraine, for the democratic world. My name is Maria Samovarova. I'm 16 years old and I'm Ukrainian. I speak in the name of all my friends, students of the school number 155, Kyiv, Ukraine. We send our messages to the democratic countries. Join Ukraine in our fighting back Russian aggression. We say thank you to all countries for the support of sanctions, good intentions and diplomacy. But the enemy is still dangerous and strong. Our country is bleeding. Join us in defending democratic values of the world. Read and share our letters. Now it's time for the world to decide to be or not to be.
I want to be a lawyer. I am Ukrainian, but 12 Russian tanks and 48 military cars crossed Ukrainian border on the 11th of September.
I want to be a singer, but Russia destroyed 4,500 houses in Lugansk and Donetsk.
I want to be a journalist. I'm a Ukrainian, but Russian forces destroyed 280 educational institutions.
I want to be a mother of 3 children. I'm a Ukrainian, but Russia on the 22nd of June kidnapped a Ukrainian woman, Olena Savchenko.
I want to be a manager. I'm Ukrainian, but Russia destroyed 132 industrial institutions.
I want to be a doctor. I am Ukrainian, but since the 5th of September, during the truce, 5 Ukrainian soldiers were killed.
I want to be a writer. I'm Ukrainian, but on the 1st of the March, the military forces of Russian Federation invaded the Crimea.
I want to be a dancer. I'm a Ukrainian, but on the 12th of September, Russian invaders occupied the airport of Donetsk.
I want to be a scientist. I'm a Ukrainian, but on the 24th of August, Pskov paratroopers crossed the Ukrainian border.
I want to be a psychologist, and I'm Ukrainian, but on the 28th of August, Russia self-propelled and anti-aircraft missiles entered Ukraine.
I want to be a manager. I'm Ukrainian, but losses caused by Russian terrorism are 12 billion hryvnias.
I want to be a teacher, and I'm a Ukrainian, but as a result of Russian aggression, on the 1st of September, 270,000 school children failed to attend their classes in Donbass.
I want to be a business lady. I am Ukrainian, but Russia destroyed 45 health institutions.
I'm a Ukrainian. I want to be a journalist, but on the 22nd of April, Russian demonstrators destroyed an office of a newspaper.
I want to be a pharmacist. I'm Ukrainian, but on the 22nd of August, Russia relocated about 18,000 armed soldiers to the borders of Ukraine.
I want to be a pilot. I'm Ukrainian, but on the 23rd of August, Russian terrorists killed 53 Ukrainian soldiers.
I want to be a journalist, and I'm a Ukrainian, but on the 13th of September, Russian terrorists shot the positions of Ukrainian army near Donetsk and Lugansk cities.
I want to be a biochemist. I am Ukrainian, but on April 13, separatists attacked a police station resulting in a shootout.
I want to be an architect, and I am Ukrainian, but Russian militants destroyed 4.7 thousand of energy supplying objects.
I want to be a director.
I want to be an astronaut.
I want to be a programmer.
I want to be a manager.
I want to be a musician.
I want to be a journalist.
I want to be an engineer. I want to be a physicist.
I want to be a teacher.
We shall be.
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Glory to Ukraine!
Glory to heroes!
Dear sir or madam, I'm addressing you. My name is
Sir, madam.
Yes, sir.
I'm Angel, and I am a
Dear sir and madam,
My name is Valerie Korobenko, I'm 16 years old, and I'm a student of School 155. They say hope is the last thing to die. Unfortunately, currently, such of a hope goes away from people too often. This happens when they lose everything and they have nowhere to go back. It is impossible to imagine the feeling when you're left with nothing until you learn it by experience. I'm so sorry for those who were granted refugee status. We should stop that. No, the distance between Kiev and Moscow is 850 kilometers. However, we just have a conflict and they live in peace. We have a hard time knowing that people are dying, and in Moscow they walk and have no idea that Putin, violating the constitution, sends men to their doom, and they do not even know where they are going to. What is the difference between Ukrainians and Russians? Russians just remain indifferent. They're indifferent to the fact that they have chosen such a president, indifferent to the fact that their people are killed. We abandoned nuclear weapons. Russia guaranteed our territorial integrity, but played it low on us. Russian special units still operate in Ukraine. They occupy entire cities and split the country. What can help Ukraine today? Have I been realistic? I would say only a miracle, but I believe that there is always a way out. What can help Ukraine is a very firm position of the West or Russian people realizing that an open intervention to Ukraine can mean a total disaster for Russia's image. What should be done to stop Putin and his army? If we don't get answers to all these questions today, we will give a green light to Putin's imperialism. The imperialism is a disease of a modern world. So please, America and Europe, think it over and stop that.
Dear sir or madam, I want to address you. My name is Alexander Yashunin and I'm 15-year-old boy. Even 1 year ago, I was leading a life of an ordinary 14-year-old teenager, giving little thought to politics and international relations. But now my life is dramatically changed, as is the life of the whole Ukraine. And not a single day passes without bringing troubles not only to me, but to the whole nation. After the victory of Maidan Revolution, we all sincerely hoped that Ukraine would at last enjoy peace. Peace, when European values should at last prevail in Ukraine. Ukraine has always promoted peace for the whole world. But despite all this, despite all treaties and assurances, our independence and territorial integrity were brutally violated. The Russian government has created a dirty war, and now thousands of Russian mercenaries and regular soldiers cross our border. They bring military vehicles and tanks with them. Actually, I cannot feel happy when I go to the school, because there are children in eastern Ukraine whose schools were leveled with ground by Russian artillery. I cannot feel happy when I go to the cinema with my friends, because in eastern Ukraine there are people who must hide in bomb shelters and wait for humanitarian aid. It is how I have come to hate this war. And the most awful is that in the east of Ukraine, fighting against the foreign occupants, the cream of Ukrainian nation die, people who are the most bright and prominent among us. My father is also among those who fight against the occupants. But we, the Ukrainians, also understand those people on the other side of the front. Many Russian soldiers cannot comprehend why they were sent to another country to die an inglorious death of occupants in an artificially created war. It is not a war between Ukraine and Russia, it is a war between Ukraine and Russian government and the Kremlin's foul ambitions and plans. So we, the Ukrainians, sincerely pity the Russians, but we will never tolerate the satisfaction of their government's foul plans. I would also like to thank all those who support Ukraine in this quite difficult for us hour. Your support is very essential for us. It is very important. And when there is a fire in your neighbor's house, what consequences might it have for your own home? Ukraine cannot fight against Russia alone. We need your help. Help us. We must stick together. This makes us strong and unconquerable. Glory to Ukraine.
Dear Sir or Madam, my name is Darina Polishuk, I'm 16 years old and I'm from Kiev, Ukraine. I want to share my letter with you. Ukraine has always faced obstacles on its way to the democratic and independent country. However, freedom-loving and peaceful Ukrainian nation has been fighting for its sovereignty and democracy for centuries. Our history proves that fact that Ukraine is the stage for military actions and the epicenter of bloodshed. The blood of our fathers and brothers has already colored all the rivers and lakes in Donbass. Our sons are protecting not only the values of Ukraine, democratic values of Ukraine, but also the democratic values of all the European countries. The other historical fact that I would like to emphasize is the president of Russia, who is so similar to a well-known figure in Nazism, Adolf Hitler. All Europe wanted to satisfy Hitler, giving him part of Europe in 1939. What can we see now? Is Putin better than Hitler? The annexation of Crimea was only the first step to the big war. Donbass is the next point to the huge European catastrophe. We need to act now. We need to stop the policy of pacification the aggressor. Otherwise, Russianism will destroy all the democratic and legal values. Europe, wake up, unite and win. Thank you.
Dear Sir, Madam, my name is Liza Nazarenko and I'm writing to you from Ukraine. I'm 16 years old and I study at school number 155. To begin with, I would like to tell you that Ukraine is my motherland and I love it from the bottom of my heart. When I see people who are the same age as me, children who should study and have the whole life ahead, dying, tears are rushing down my face. When I see fathers who left their families to make their future better or just this future to exist, I feel overwhelmed. When I see women protecting our border as bravely as men, there are no limits to my admiration. Our best people die protecting our independence and democratic values. This aggression to our territory must end. We are told that the main aim of history is to learn on our mistakes. But how about the Second World War? Millions of lives could have been saved if only influential decision makers of that time were not indifferent. Wouldn't have you done anything to save those lives of little children, innocent men and women if you had had an opportunity? So now you have it. We cannot change our past, but we can change our future. Ukraine now is a wall between Europe and Russia. Open Russian aggression is a violation of all international agreements. Not only Ukraine can become a victim of Russian government's policy. We all know that we are stronger together. So join us in our fight against totalitarianism and for democracy and peace.
My name is Milenka and I'm 15 years old. I've been living in Ukraine for over 9 years. I saw how people changed during the Euromaidan and I still see it today. But now, well, the fact is that Ukraine is dealing with an aggression coming from Russian side. On the 27th of August, the world have finally announced the things that should have been announced a few months before, as everything was clear then too. Russia invaded Ukraine is the hashtag that was used nearly 500,000 times on Twitter and other social networks during the first few days. Mr. Putin took Crimea and now he engaged Russian soldiers in trying to keep control over Donbass. We can't actually say that Ukraine is alone in this conflict. The world's most powerful countries are setting economic sanctions against Russia, but it's still not enough. The world should not forget that Ukraine is the border between Europe and Russia, and it is the Ukrainian soldiers who die every day defending their homeland. So everyone should respect that and react instead of saying how deeply concerned they are. Thank you.
Dear Sir or Madam, I am addressing you. My name is Natalia Solovyova, and I am a 16-year-old student of school number 155 from Kiev, Ukraine. Ukraine is invaded. It is in danger of losing our independence. Wake up! Don't you see that Russia won't stop on Ukraine? The next goal might be Poland and then other countries. Do you really think such things won't ever happen to you? Then you are mistaken, as Ukraine now is the wall between Russia and Europe. Lots of people die, but what for? They die for a peaceful and independent life not only in Ukraine, but in the whole Europe, even in the whole world. They die for saving international democratic values. I don't ask you for help, I warn you. You are now safe and sound, but this doesn't mean that you won't get involved in such actions soon. We are a generation of young people who are not indifferent to the future of our country. We want to live here, and we try to make it a better place for our future children as well. We are not the ones who give up. We won't let Russia destroy our lives. There is no time left, but we hope for a better life. Thank you.
Dear Sir and Madam, my name is Yaroslav. I am 14 years old and I'm a student of school number 155. Starting my letter, I want to mention that Europe nowadays is too secluded from the situation. This isolation from the situation may be fatal. Ukraine is the biggest country in the Europe, and it has a very specific geographical location. But nowadays it's more negative than positive. Because of this location, nowadays we have very big problems. We have, on the east of our country, we have a Russian border. Problems started last winter when we had a revolution, and at the end of the revolution, our country decided to choose the European path. This decision may have disturbed the Russian government and the Russia and made them interested in the situation, and maybe too interested. Russians knew that propaganda would not work because nobody will listen to it. So they chose the aggressive way. But they are not unintelligent, so their aggressive is very well covered. Anyway, I hope you will listen to our voice and look through our letters which we share. Thank you.
Dear Sir, Madam, I want to share my letter with you. My name is Alexandra Gayevska, I'm 15 years old, and I want to tell you about the situation in Ukraine, which has completely changed during this couple months. During this hard year, we have lost a lot of heroes, but gained unity. Each of you needs to understand that with your support, we will break all the difficulties, and as a reward for that, gain free independent countries without pressure and negative aggressions on ourselves. Thank you for attention.
Dear Sir, Madam, my name is Eva Labunska. I am writing to you with a request for support in this hard-for-my state time. Ukraine is now occupied in the east by Russian army and separatists who are convinced that my country shouldn't be independent. Our fathers, brothers, friends who were forced to become soldiers die now in the name of peace and future. Isn't it nonsense? We live in the 21st century when peace is reached in a diplomatic way, not by spilling the blood of the innocent. My mother, a successful businesswoman, has quit her job in order to help Ukrainian army. Since May, my flat looks like a military warehouse, as my mother every week sends nearly 7 flak jackets to ADO. Turning to history, Russia has usually been the aggressor in its Western relationship, and as you can see, history repeats itself. Today, Ukraine is the wall between the aggressor and your country. If you don't help us now, tomorrow Russia will be at your border. So be strong and be brave. As William Hegel once said, when the weak unite, they become strong. When the powerful unite, they become invincible. Finally, it's your choice to lay up on the sofa and do nothing, or to show everyone that you are not indifferent. So listen to your heart and choose faster, as people are dying, but you can change it.
Dear Sir, Madam, my name is Yana. However, I'm only 14 years old, but I'm wide awake of what's happening now in our country at what times now our nation passes through. All these events happen quickly and unexpectedly. From flourish and glorious country, we turn into the country where bloodshed is happened every day. From calm and audition nation, we turn into the paranoid people who can't even imagine what future expects us. But for what all these victims? Needless to say that we protect and defend all Europe from our common aggressor, and this aggressor is Russia. Our country is something like a border, so we have to apply our global power against the Russia pressure. And now I'm addressed to European government to open your eyes and see daylight that our destiny is connected with the destiny of the whole Europe. Thank you.
Dear Sir or Madam, I'm addressing you. My name is Elizaveta Kovalyuk and I'm a student of school number 155. I'm 16 years old. I want to remind of those horrible events that happened in our country recently and to explain some possible consequences that Russian invasion may lead to. Undoubtedly, it's becoming more and more evident that the situation is not just tough, it's critical. The worst thing is that Russian invaders have gone beyond the limit, and their aim is not only to invade Ukraine but the entire Europe. The main thing is that Ukraine is trying to make efforts to beat our enemy, but it needs European support. Ukraine is just a small and weak country in comparison to its neighbor, Russia, and if it had more military help from Europe, it would have already beaten our enemy. Recently I had a conversation with a man from anti-terroristic operation. To be honest, this conversation has touched my soul. Yet I'm convinced that those people are completely innocent and they are very brave. They're just simple people who are forced to take further actions. I want to express my feelings towards what's happening right now in my country. Europe has to rebel, otherwise a situation is going to be worsened. But still, if Ukraine and the entire Europe unite, we will beat our biggest enemy who broke into Ukraine without permission and violated its sovereignty.
Dear Sir, Madam, I want to address you. My name is Yulia Kramarenko. I'm 14 years old, Ukrainian, and I attend school number 155. Ukraine is a state that had to fight for its independence and language and culture throughout its history. But who would have thought that in our civilized world invasion could take place? Today it's not a secret that Russia attacked Ukraine. Today Ukrainian young men die, Ukrainian mothers experience such a grief that you would never wish to anybody. My mother really suffers from aggression. Today Ukraine is a real war between aggressor and Europe. Today my country bears the brunt, but how long will it be able to defend the area of Ukraine and Europe without almost any help? So not stay aside. Thank you.
Dear Sir and Madam, I want to address you. My name is Nastya Gorobets. I am 13 years old. I was born in Ukraine and I love this country. But now we are going through tough times. On the east of our country, innocent people and soldiers are giving their lives away for our independence. And a lot of mothers have lost their sons. Children have lost their fathers and wives have lost their husbands. I don't want to be one of those children who lost their fathers because of Russian aggression. I am really worried about my father because he spends each day working in ATO as a military doctor. And if you will stand aside, you will be the next, because Ukraine is a border between Russia and Europe. And you are staying in safe as long as we are protecting our country. Thank you.
Dear Sir or Madam, I want to address you. My name is Nastya Timkova. I'm 15 years old and I attend school number 155. My homeland is the great country Ukraine, but now it is the real opposition in my country. A year ago, I couldn't imagine that Ukraine can be occupied by Russia. It became a killer, aggressor, deathly for us. Ukraine is smaller than Russia, but our people have very strong fighting spirit. Our soldiers fight for their families, for their land. That's why the victory must be ours. In this letter I want to tell you that we can expect very horrible things each minute from our neighbor aggressor. So all people who understand that war can come to their houses should unite all their efforts. I think Russia is an enemy of the whole humanity, as it is very unexpected in its actions. Stop the war. Thank you.
Dear Sir and Madam, my name is Jan. I am 14 years old. I would like to address you about the current situation in Ukraine, which is horrible. Right now, our soldiers are fighting, not only for the freedom of our country, but also for that of Europe. We cannot let Russia win, because they will not stop. If we let our defenses fall, if we let Russia defeat us, then they will continue their conquest and Europe will suffer great losses. Help us put a stop to this war and help us save thousands of people. Also, I would like to say that I am very sorry for all the people that have died recently, and I would like to address the democratic world. Let those deaths be the only deaths. Let those families who have lost parents and children be the only families, and let our country be the only one to suffer through war, for I do not wish our fate onto any other nation. Thank you.
Dear Sir or Madam, I want to address you. My name is Liza Mamula. I am neither a president of some well-developed country, nor a famous celebrity. I just 14-year-old Ukrainian student. However, I kindly ask you to find a couple of minutes to listen to me. It is difficult to understand who is right and where is the truth. I believe as an insider I can help you a bit to understand what is going on and how it affects you. Last winter, Ukrainians rose in rebellion against highly corruptive president and his team, who have concentrated all the political power in Ukraine and have absolutely lost the support of people. People from different parts and that have different backgrounds united to protect their rights. Of course, it wasn't an easy period for Ukraine, and at this moment of exceptional weakness, our neighboring state, Russian Federation, in a mean way occupied the territory of Ukraine. But Russia didn't stop there. Having a limited and insatiable desire to rebuild the lost territories of former USSR, Russian Federation started helping so-called separatists on the east of Ukraine. Russian TV tries to show it as an internal conflict, but it isn't true. It is a pure act of aggression. If you think that it doesn't affect you, you're wrong. Your country may be the next. Help us until it comes to your home. Spread the truth and influence your government. Don't be indifferent.
Dear Sir or Madam, I want to address you. My name is Irina Fedoseva and I am 14 years old. It's really sad that our neighboring state attacked us. They crossed our borders, shooting and killing innocent citizens and devastating our motherland. Almost all of the Russian soldiers are profoundly misinformed about the true reasons of Russian aggression against Ukraine. I think that in this critical situation we need to be united. Only then we will become powerful and strong and able to find out what to do with this situation. Only then we will become powerful and able to protect our flourishing, peaceful and beautiful country, Ukraine.
Dear Sir, Madam, my name is Maria Samovarova. I am 16 years old and I am a student of school number 155. I am talking to you due to the latest events which have happened and now are happening in my country, Ukraine. I'm a proud Ukrainian girl and I'm very concerned about the way my country is governed. The hard times that we were so afraid of have come. Thousands of victims, wounded people, and literally shattered lives. I have never thought that this could happen to my motherland. Latest events have turned the world upside down and made us think of everything, especially of our family. Thing that is the most important in our life and thing that is so easily destroyed in eastern Ukraine. The reason why Ukrainian revolution has occurred is that people had a certain disillusionment with their government. Now we have a new president and a new prime minister. Something but changed. Only the situation in my country is still hard and we have no clear vision of the future. Danger can come from nowhere and we have no idea what will happen tomorrow. Now it's clear that Russia is an aggressor and no one knows next action of President Putin. We all suspect about his plan to take over the world. Several world-famous politicians have already called him Hitler of the 21st century. This situation in my country concerns everyone because everything that has happened here is a protection of democratic values of the world. Ukraine is a border between Russia and Europe. This message isn't a request for help. This is a warning for Europe and rest of the world.
This all sounds like a nightmare, but sadly, it's reality. Every one of us wants to have a long, bright life, filled with unforgettable moments. But unfortunately, it cannot be reached so easily in my country. We pay people's lives for our freedom and independence. It must be stopped immediately. Russia must stop invading Ukraine. Wake up, world, wake up, Europe. Act. I hope you will hear my words. Thank you.